Hi guys! In today's video, I'll show you how I strengthen my Blythe doll's knees. The technique I'm going to do is the only one I'm aware of, so if there's an alternative method, please feel free to link it in the comment section to share with everyone. In my first video of this series, unboxing my first Blythe, I demonstrate how the legs bend under the weight of her head when lifted. This is a way you can gauge how well they'll hold when you pose your doll for pictures. I've even seen some Blythes with a doll stand slouch, so this is a good modification to do if you want it to stay straight. To prepare for this, you'll need a small Phillips screwdriver and two small flathead self-tapping screws. Self-tapping means it's able to produce a thread in the material it's being driven into, so they tend to have a sharp point. The length is also important as to not exceed the outer part of the knee. You don't want it to break through on the other side. This one measures 7 millimeters. The shaft is roughly 5. These are slightly larger than the ones you find in eyeglass repair kits. The drive head needs to be flat, otherwise reassembly won't work. So the first step is to remove the lower half of the leg at the knee joint. I simply flexed the knee and pulled, and it came out pretty easy. So with both sides removed, you can see that the lower half of the leg has a plastic node. That's what we're going to be reinforcing today. Here's a crude drawing. You can see at the top of the node there is a type of lip. That's what helps grip into the thigh portion of the leg. This screw is meant to reinforce that top portion so it can hook on to the inner hole. It measures perfectly within that circle. And I'm just checking to make sure it doesn't go beyond the outer part of the knee when it gets screwed in. This is why it needs to be flat. For the next step, I will take my screwdriver and I'll push it into the soft vinyl just to create a tiny divot for the screw's point to grip to. This step you don't have to do. You can even use a pencil to mark the center of the protruding node. This step I do just so it can guide you and to make sure you go in straight and it doesn't come out all wonky. This particular one has a concave node, but it's the same process to mark the center. Now I'll use the sharp point of the screw and I press firmly to help it start gripping. I'll pinch it within my 2 fingers to hold it in place, and then I start screwing firmly to make sure it goes in straight. Right here I'm just checking to make sure it's starting, and it is already beginning to go into it. And I'll use my index finger as support to make sure I don't turn in any direction. Now I just drive it all the way down. And I want it to go into the concave bit. So I use the palm of my hand to support the back part of the leg and to go in. And you can see it does stick up slightly. So I will screw that in later. And now I'll just repeat it on the other leg. Here I've made sure both of them are flush and flat for reassembly. For this portion, you will need some hot water and a container just enough to cover the holes on the thigh portion of the legs. This is to soften the vinyl and make it easier to reassemble. I've changed her because I don't want her little dress to get wet. And I put just enough to cover the hole. And it's easier in this container to put both. And I will just leave her for a few minutes. It's roughly been about 5 minutes in this heat, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare my cloth to dry the hole. You want to make sure it's dried thoroughly. And I have this wooden skewer that's used for kebabs. And I'm going to clean the hole out and even that little line that's on the side. Make sure the whole outer part of the leg is dry. And make sure you put the right part, the right leg on the right side. Now here I'm going to go in at an angle. I found that's the easiest. And I'm going to use my thumbs to press directly over the node and the hole like a puzzle piece. I flex and straighten the knee, going back and forth in a wrench-like motion, and it goes in pretty easily. You do have to put some effort behind it though to make sure it goes in all the way. And here we just repeat for the other side. I accidentally got out of frame for this one, but the process is the same. Now I am just checking to make sure both are all the way in. And there you have it. Here I'm doing a little test just to see. I know she doesn't have her head on, so I can't really tell for sure, but you can really feel the difference. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.